Well, spring is well and truly underway here now in my part of the world. Sun is out, clear blue skies. You can feel the warmth on your face, on your body. Things are coming to life again. Birdsong is more pronounced. Leaves on the trees are emerging, flowers are blooming. There's a general sense of peace and anticipation. That's on the surface anyhow. And I'm not altogether immune to it. And at the same time, I'm as feeling some amount of the aforementioned, that is peace and anticipation. I'm also equally, if not more so, thoroughly jaded. So very jaded. Because this isn't a novel experience for me. I've seen this play out many, many times now. All in all, it's a pretty banal, horrifying, sadistic ride. This little carousel wheel that we're on against our will. This pantomime. It's really the worst, most abominable fairground ride. This wheel spinning around and round and round, going nowhere, doing nothing, and yet all the while you ride it, your body begins to decay, to become decrepit and diseased, and your spirit withers and dies. All joy, the light within you begins to wane, flicker, gutter, until it's all but extinguished. As kind of horrible as Christianity is, as with all other organized religions in one way or another, the whole missionary spirit, the conquesting and forced conversions of pagan peoples, the condemnation of pagan peoples for worshipping what they would essentially refer to as the devil. It's not altogether misplaced, to be honest. Because celebration of nature is celebration of horror, really, horror, futility, sadism, There's nothing good about it. I mean, these people's, it rewards them because they align themselves with it, right? It's good for them because they are partaking of the carnage. In any case, the Christian missionaries and so on, they're still worshipping the same force. They're just taking it just has it's just a different face of the same thing. It's still, and it wears the, or it's a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? Basically. Still serves the same ends of perpetuating this machine of horror. Keeps people invested. I'm hungry right now, and this is so often the case. It's probably a large part of why I have sleeping issues, because I just won't give my body all of the food that it needs in order to sleep restfully. So it's perpetually kind of in this, it raises cortisol levels, right? When you're hungry, you're stressed. And the body is preparing for hardship, to potentially engage in conflicts or to go on a hunt or something, right? And all of that is highly antithetical to being in a restful state, ready for sleep. Rest and repair, there's two different modes. The sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, they're mutually exclusive, if that is the right way to put it. You know, you're either residing in one or the other. And yeah. But it's being like an active, large person, it's kind of a full-time job to give your body all of the food, the sustenance that it requires. And I have a whole bunch of food intolerances as well, so there's only like very limited number of foods that I can eat reliably, and I'm just pretty much sick of eating them, to be honest with you. I'd be probably sick of eating even if that wasn't the case, because it's just so repetitive, isn't it? And it is an addiction. It is an addiction. So often in this regard, I think about, if you're familiar, you'll know what I'm talking about, but a scene in the novel Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace, which is, for the most part, about addiction and most explicitly drug addiction and yeah, so it gives lengthy sort of details on examinations of drug addiction, but then in doing so, by bringing up other activities that people are, and modes of life, modes of behavior that people are engaging in, the characters are engaging in throughout the novel, we see very clearly the parallels between such and the more explicit behaviors of a drug addict. And there's one particular scene where one of the main characters is sort of visualizing in his mind all of the food that he will have to eat for the rest of his life in order to sustain himself, and he just sees rooms and rooms and rooms stacked from floor to ceiling filled with all of this fucking trash, basically. Those are my words, not David Foster Wallace's. It's just food, it's just dead matter that we're processing through ourselves and shitting out, and then that shit becomes more, I guess, well, it's still shit, basically. It's just it's just shit that's taken on a different shape, a different form, and it just passes through us, becomes shit again, and we are nothing but shit, really. Our bodies are just fucking corpses that are just invested with the slightest hint of a spark of life, and we're just here hanging on by a thread at all times. The moment that we cease to gorge ourselves upon shit, we begin to withdraw, to retreat, to become less, to disappear. But no one's going to do that. Well, I mean, some people do that, right? But most people are just going to continue with the addiction because it's the default mode of behavior, and it mostly goes wholly unexamined by the majority. I'm even guilty of this. It's so easy to just go through the motions and to just well, it isn't easy for me to go through the motions, really. I don't think I'll be here saying this kind of stuff if it was. I'll be like a great many other people, just going about my business, working my job, raising my family, watching movies, going on vacations, having goals and ambitions, wanting to accomplish things here, saving for my retirement, just overall wanting to better myself in all manner of ways, putting down roots, clinging. But I'm not doing any of that. I think I'm just biding my time. Part of me thinks that's really the most appropriate thing to do. That's the reasonable, I guess, rational part of me in how it responds to the futility of life, that which I perceive. But then there's this other part that thinks that I shouldn't be so idle, that I should be trying to, I don't know, find a way out of here, if there is a way out, right? Because I look at these ideas that people have expressed throughout the ages, ideas about reincarnation, ideas about what the nature of this really is, this recycling plant of shit that we're in. And if such things are true, then of course I shouldn't be so idle. I shouldn't just be biding my time. I should be acting in some way upon my understanding of just how futile this place is. Because I know how completely, I know very well how completely unrealistic actual fulfillment or satisfaction is here. Everything just falls away, everything just slips through your fingers, nothing is permanent. Everything requires constant maintenance, and even then, despite such, even if you're the most diligent person in this regard, constantly seeing to the upkeep of every different aspect of your life, right? Really just micromanaging things. Irrespective of that, everything is just going to fall apart in the end anyway. Just as if you hadn't even bothered in the first place. And if it is the case that we're all going to have to do this again, and that we've all done this before, just an unfathomably vast number of times, unfathomably large number of times. And we'll continue to do so for the same, right? It's just absurd. And a way out should be sought for. Of course, it only follows it's reasonable, right? But I struggle with the idea of anyone arriving at a place where they can be undeniably certain of these things, of these matters, what the true nature of this is, and how to get out of it, if that is even a possibility. How can one be completely void of doubt in this regard? I do not know.